All right, good morning everybody. Welcome to another Livin Freestyle Game Dev live stream. My name's Kevin. We do this twice a week. This is a Game Dev AMA Q&A. We're talking Unreal, blueprints, visual scripting, game development, all kinds of stuff like that. I currently work as a principal tech artist at Riot Games in R&D, so I do hopefully have a pretty good understanding of both the tech and the art side, and I am happy to help stumble through a bunch of stuff with you all as we learn a whole bunch about Unreal together. It's a super deep program, there's a lot involved, and part of the reason that I do this is also because I learn a lot from all of you as well. If there are no questions, it is an AMA Q&A, that is the priority, but if there are no questions, that's okay, it's not a problem. I am also streaming just me working towards my own prototype. I'm doing that because, just like everybody else, I have an idea for a game I want to make, but also it forces me to use sections and parts of Unreal that I would have never touched at the day job. And there's a lot of really cool stuff in there. So I took a look through the stream stuff or the previous streams. I didn't see any specific questions. So we are going to hop straight back into Unreal and what we were working on before while we hang out and wait to see if anybody else has any questions. I did have one quick little update. There will be no live streams next week. Those dates are 4/9 and 4/12. And gonna take a little bit of a break to kind of reorganize the channel a little bit, focus it primarily on Unreal game development, etc., and split off a few of the other things as we start getting some of the other videos and stuff ready as well. So, quick little announcement, I'll put it, I'll also post that on Twitter and stuff like that for y'all as well. So with that, let's just go ahead and hop into Unreal and get going. So where we left off was I'm actually just gonna do a quick check to make sure. Okay. We had gotten to the point where we were trying to figure out why our enemies were attacking with a different attack than we attack with. And we basically discovered they're not able to use the combo. So we are going to pick that up where we left off and try to figure out how to get the enemies to use the combo. I'm just going to double check our stream real quick to make sure that we're okay. Here we go. All right, well, it says we're up and running. Good morning, Weston's World Studio. Welcome to the community. We're happy to have you. Is the stream coming through okay for you? Are you a game developer? Are you an artist? Or are you just interested in Unreal Engine? Okay, very cool. All right. So, as I was saying, what we're working on is we're trying to figure out why our enemies cannot use sword combos in melee attack. And part of that is if we look at their ability trees, what's happening is in our enemy fight ability tree, right now they have the attack option, and they also have they don't even have a melee anymore. They used to have a ETS for melee, which is interesting. So right now they can just very early solo game dev. That is awesome. Are you working in Unreal Engine or are you working in Unity, or what kind of stuff are you working towards? So right now there is only an attack for a behavior tree service. There is no, we do have the should melee option, but there is no actual melee attack. And then if you recall, if we take a look at this attack service, I think it's going to open, it does. Okay. This attack service is basically sending the gameplay event to the actor of the weapon fire, which UE5, very cool. Which is why they can shoot, but they can't sword. If we go to where this is, what they were doing before, did we have a BTS melee? I thought we had a melee. Because remember, they were only using the old melee attacks and they weren't able to use the combos. And that is what we're trying to get into today. Here we go, here's our melee. So this is the way melee used to work. And it tries to activate abilities by the tag, and the tag that it's trying to activate is melee. Now, that doesn't work because if we look at our sword combo, let's take a look at combo 1, or we'll just look at this combo. This combo's tag is ability weapon combo. So as a result of it, talking conceptually about switching game modes. Weston's World Studio, yeah, I'm happy to kind of dig into that a little bit. The one quick heads up, you missed the announcement at the beginning. Next week is our off week. So we are taking the stream. So the next stream, so we're not streaming the 9th or the 12th, but we will be back on the 16th. And we can check that out. And that would be cool. There's a lot of really new, there's a lot of new stuff about switching game modes in UE5. That, there's so many new systems in UE5. I'm just as new to them as you are, I would say, in some ways. So, but let's see if we can hop in and figure out how to do that together. We did a stream not too long ago about changing the keyboard context switching based on the weapons, which was actually really fun to do. So we'll see what we can do about game modes. But it sounds like you basically want to start off with an RPG and then switch to turn-based. Yeah, we'll see if we can dig into that. But again, we'll be back on the 16th for stuff like that. All right. So basically what we need to do is we either need to update the tag for this weapon combo, or we need to change the call in the melee. So, you know what would be interesting to try is if we just change this from melee. Let's just try this. Where is it? Interesting. Thank you very much, Weston. That's very cool of you. It's just awesome to have you hop in. Have a great day. So this is an ability. Type action melee. It's interesting that I don't see the check. Look, here's ability input tag. Ability. That's way weird. I don't even see it in the list. Oh, here it is. Ability type action melee. It's right there. Okay, type action melee. I see. Okay, so let's switch this to sword combo. How are we triggering this when we run it for our inputs? Let's see here. That's going to be under our IA combo attack. So this is our input action combo attack. And if we browse to that, reference viewer, this is connected to our input hero config and our shooter mannequin blueprint. So let's edit that real quick. And in our shooter mannequin blueprint, we have underneath, well, we have so many tabs open. We can set up melee attack positions. Okay, we are looking for our input attack, input combo attack, I believe is what it was called. Yes. And that basically activates abilities with tag, ability weapon combo. Okay, cool. So let's do that. Let's go back to, we don't need this. We don't need this. We don't, oh, we did need that. I just closed what we needed. We need the BTS melee. BTS melee. Here we go. And what we're going to do is we're going to change this tag. Hey Anuj, am I saying that right? Is it Anuj? I hope I'm saying that right. If not, feel free to correct me. Holy cow, how and when did I join this industry? For this industry, because we get both virtual production and game devers in here, I worked in film and game for the last, what year is this? 25 years, I guess. How I got in, how did I get into film or how did I get into games? I guess would be what I'm wondering. All right, so we said that needed to be ability weapon combo. So we're gonna change this to ability weapon combo. We're gonna change that. Okay. Games. Okay, so let's see. Played games my whole life. Started before Atari. Really fell in love with game graphics and the visuals with the Amiga. I really loved the Amiga. It was just beautiful stuff. You know, obviously grew up playing all the stuff, Super Nintendo, everything. Then Halo. And then I wanted to be an animator, right? And so I broke into film. And then I worked in film, worked my way through film for a while. But I always kind of figured that at some point I was gonna hop into games. And then I got to a point in film where I loved animation. I still love animation. I still might go back to doing film animation. But I got to a point where I kind of went off and did my own thing for a while. And then I found myself working mostly in contracts for helping people set up their games and get stuff going. I did some work with David Jaffe while he was pitching Drawn to Death, just a couple little independent things. And then what happened was, interestingly enough, and I did a whole bunch of cinematic stuff for Heist while I was working at Sony. I think that was the other part of it. As I was working on a film, I can't remember what film it was. And then they had an emergency project where we all had to go do some game cinematic stuff for E3. And I started working on that. And that was in a crazy intense schedule. But then afterwards, I was just kind of doing various stuff for AR and VR and helping people get characters in the engine and things like that. And then Riot Games called me. And funny enough, for almost 3 years, Riot would call me and I would say, you know, you're not gonna hire me. I don't play League of Legends. And then finally, after about 3 years, and I was doing all these side game things, I finally said, fine, if I come in for an interview, will you stop calling me? And they were like, yes. I was like, okay. So I went in for an interview. It was a grueling interview process. I'm talking like over 15 interviews spread out over 3 or 4 months. And then I've been working there for 8 years now. So I guess it worked out. I mean, I think so. I think so. All right, so we got our weapon combo back. Let me make sure our stream is back. Okay, cool. So now we've changed this to be the ability weapon combo. Let's just try to if we should melee, let's just try something here. Let's just add in our behavior tree service here. Melee. And let's just see if they attack. Hopefully that hopefully that answers your question. Okay. Oh yeah, she can attack. Oh dude, and she's even doing the combos. Oh, look at this. She does the combos better than I do. Okay, sometimes she all right. I was kind of expecting this, but it's not too bad. It's not too bad. So the problem is, okay, let me explain to you what's happening. She's hopping into her behavior tree. She's going down and you can see where she is in the loop. Let's take a look in here. You can see she's down here. All right. And she gets to the move to goal. But what's happening is this melee attack, look at our tick rate for this. This is 0.4, our interval is 0.5. So what's happening is she's swiping and 0.5 just happens to be the exact speed at which we need in order to trigger each of the combos. How do I know that? All right, so let's go back and look at our melee combo. The way it works right now is there's a montage, and I think it's combo. Oh, do I have it open already? No, I don't. Combo, sword combo. Here it is. Okay, and what happens in this combo is it plays a montage. The montage that it plays is determined by the combo phase. And if that is done in here, I believe, enhanced, end combo marker, set up melee, determine combo phase, here we go. So here's our combo phase, and whether it's basic or a power attack, we're going to determine. So in each of these, there is a attack notify and an end mark finish. So here's what happens. In the first, she gets the first swipe, and as she's swiping, the enemy will wait half a second because the behavior tree is saying half a second, and then she will try to swipe again. Well, the interesting thing about that is half a second, this combo is roughly 1 second long. So she's basically re-triggering this combo at about frame 15. So this is the first phase. So let's watch her do that again. All right. So the first one is about 30 seconds. So now our enemies, 1, 2, he almost nails it perfectly. So he's getting the first 2 hits, but not the third one. Why is that? Okay, so let's go back. He still totally smoked me. So let's go back and I'll show you. Now let's take a look at the second part of the combo. And this is interesting. I had a feeling, I was thinking about this when we got into this before. So our second combo, same thing. This attack is just about 1 second, and the damage happens at the beginning, and then about the 30-second mark, if we zoom out a little bit, you can see right about, not the 30-second, the half-second mark, right about the half-second mark, he's already finished, the enemy's finished a full swipe, and then we're going into recovery. Now, what's happening though, is our last one is not triggering because we're basically hitting the button again too soon, which means we may be hitting it here. We're not finishing. Let's take a look. Oh, or we're kicking out. That could be the other thing. Let's take a look at the third one. Yeah, so our third one is super slow. That's why. Oh my goodness. Right off the top of my head, I don't have a quick fix for this. But basically what's happening is, so now what's happening is, it has actually nothing to do with the combo phase. What's happening is the character's coming in here, it's winding up, gets to the wind up, and then right at half a second, it triggers the next attack. So we never get to the slam down. It's just not happening. We would need a full 1 second to finish. But what we could do is, let's just say just to try out my theory, what we could do is we can change our melee attack to be this behavior tree service to do an interval of, let's try 0.8. Let's try 0.7. 0.7 to start with. Okay, so what's gonna happen? We're gonna get out here. The enemy's going to come at me. 1, 2, 1, 2. Nope, it's not quite long enough. Definitely hitting the first two, but that's still not long enough for the last one. So let's go back and do this again, and let's change. Interesting. Let's try 0.9. The problem is if we go too long, we'll miss the first two. So here comes the enemy. Oh, dude, that worked. Oh, she totally just wrecked me. Okay, that's pretty cool. What was that error that we saw print out? That looked like a new error. Output log. Blueprint run access none, trying to read property item instance. Add stat tag. V-test pickup. Oh, okay. That's because, all right, so that error is because this pickup item, this pickup piece, doesn't have an item set to it. So we're not picking up anything. All right, so our enemies can melee now. Now here's the thing, this is gonna look crazy, but let's just turn it on so I can show you like this is gonna be, I think, All right, so here's what I'm talking about. Right now, while they're in this melee mode, okay, they are meleeing. And the problem with that is everything they're doing in here, they're always trying to melee. So if they are moving too, they're trying to melee potentially as they're moving too, all this stuff. So let's see if we can try this out. I'm going to actually close down a couple tabs because I know the machine struggles with it. Oh, you know what? Actually, no, we do. We're not. We're okay. We're okay because... Okay, I think we're okay because what happens is... Wait a minute. Why are we okay? That's interesting. I was not expecting that to be okay. Here, it's like when the enemy is moving too, they're not actually executing this melee. BTS melee happens, it tries to activate any ability within. That's why. Really stuttering? Thank you, Anush. What can we shut down to help with that? Is it only when I'm playing or also just in general? That's the other reason we do not have any streams next week. We are going to be, unfortunately, or fortunately, upgrading. We need to upgrade our machine a little bit. This machine is probably 7 years old now, and it's struggling to keep up with you all. Is it audio that's stuttering, Anuj, or is it just the video? Also, you never told me if I'm saying your name right. Okay. Let me think about what we can do here. You know what? We don't have anybody on Twitch this morning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut down the Twitch stream. Okay. So let's do this. Let's stop Twitch stream. And let's kill some Twitch. Thank you for the heads up. I appreciate it. Okay. Hopefully that will help. All right. Okay, so what we were talking about was we have our combo attacks. Ah, yes. The reason why... Okay, here's the reason. The reason why the enemies are not actually doing the attack, even though they're being told to attack by the behavior tree, is because within our melee option, what we're testing whether or not we're within range. Because if we're, so right here we do this check to see if each actor is within range. We're getting the actor, we're getting our target and ourselves. We're getting a quick distance here. And then we're checking to see if it's within, actually interestingly enough, we're not checking to see if it's within range, we're just checking to see if we're within 350 units. And if that's true, then we're going to try to activate the ability. That's why, even though in this behavior tree, the enemy is running all around, while they're running, they're not trying to attack. But if we are within range, they will try to attack even while they're still running. So let's see if I can show you. So they tried to attack, they stopped. Tried to attack and stop. Right? So that's great. So this feels pretty good. Overall, I feel like that feels pretty good. Is the video a little bit better now, Anush? And you never told me, am I saying your name right? I hope so. Anuj. J. Oh, Anuj. Yeah. So it's Anuj. It's a hard J. Okay, Anuj. Hopefully that's right. Cool. Thank you for helping me out with that. All right, so we got that. I think that's pretty good. She's attacking now. They're attacking. They're using combos. That was kind of a big issue. So now, actually, that means our allies can do it now too, theoretically. Ooh, let's see what happens here. Let's just turn everything back on. We're gonna go 3 enemies and 2 allies and see how fast we get wrecked. Okay. Here we go. Oh, something hit a breakpoint. Oh, I forgot I had a breakpoint on the power attack. I'm gonna get, this doesn't count. I'm gonna get wrecked until I can't, because I can't click. All right, let's try this again. This time without the breakpoint. Here we go. Oh. Okay, all right, so there's a couple things about this. My allies are doing pretty well. Okay, as I'm trying to do this, you can't see it, and this is gonna change hopefully when we start playing together. What feels bad about this right now is I cannot cancel. There are no cancel windows with this. Oh, dude, she picked up a gun. Oh my goodness. So what's happening is when I'm in the middle, there's two things about this that I think we're gonna have to fix. All right, for this to feel good. One is there is no cancel window. So if I'm in the middle of attack and I try to dodge, I can't. I'm locked into my attack. We're definitely gonna need to fix this. And then the other one is, what was the other one? No cancel window. Oh, I want to be able to block. I want to be able to parry, and we can't do that. And so we're going to have to oh, but this is cool, man. This feels so much better. Okay, so many guns. Headshot. Okay, cool. All right, so that's what we're doing now. We got two things that we're gonna work towards right now. We need to figure out cancel windows, and we wanna be able to do a block. And the reason we wanna be able to do a block is I don't wanna be in a mode where we're always running away. Because I don't want this game to end up feeling like Unreal Tournament, where you spend the entire time going like this. You're running backwards and shooting. Backwards, that's not it. So I want to reward being in the fray with people, so it looks like this. All right, so we got him. Now, why is she not attacking? So this is a great example of what I'm talking about. Oh man. She went to hide. The reason she went to hide is because, look at her health. She's got nothing left. But we want our allies, these two clowns, they can't even get close enough to each other to hit each other. We want our allies, there's so much work to do. Okay, focus. Hey, no, just no. So I want to be able to parry. We want to be able to parry, and we want to be able to, we want to get our allies to follow us, and we want to change a little bit about how they're thinking. Okay, cool. So right now, this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. The enemy has low health. My ally is low health. In the situation where the enemy and the ally are low health, and they're trying to stay with, away from a visual certain distance. Now, the reason my ally might attack when I'm here is because she now has a friend. I am her friend. Nope, he ran away. But this is the bit I want to learn. Okay. So what specifically do you have a question about, Anuj? Okay. So not being able to debug, I mean debugging is an art form. So how can I help with that? Can you give me an example of a thing that you're trying to do and what it is about debugging the system that is difficult? Are you familiar with breakpoints? Are you familiar with stepping through the code and the visual script? Also, how about the reference viewer as well as the reference editor? And also there is the blueprint call stack. Are any of these things ringing any bells? And then while Anuj answers that question, I am going to, maybe we can create our block ability. Oh, dude, Anuj, all we do is hit bear. If you look back through the videos, I have literally a year of videos twice a week where all I do is bang my head against the wall over what is working. This is a slow process, but I'm having fun. Yes, most days I'm having fun because it's really cool to learn this stuff. It's a lot of fun to figure out how this stuff works, but I definitely think there are things that can help. So, of those things that I mentioned, breakpoints. Are you familiar with breakpoints? Are you familiar with stepping through your code? How comfortable are you with the reference viewer? You added site sense. Great. So, okay. So that's also a troubleshooting thing. If you turn off, there's nothing wrong. You see me doing this all the time. In fact, I've been doing it this morning. I start off with a single enemy, or I'll turn off everything else. Yeah, okay, it took you forever to get it, but you got it working. You got it working, right? And what was the problem? Was it because that it wasn't on the controller, it was on the pawn instead? That's a huge win. You got it working. That's the thing. So that's the other part of it too. Is Unreal is a beast of a program, and there's always some checkbox. You're always checkbox hunting in Unreal. Okay, so what we're going to do is let's see if first we can make a new ability. We're gonna make a new ability, so let's do this. We have our GA, which is I think the combo. Here's our sword power combo. This is cool. Let's browse to this asset, and I'm going to just duplicate this ability. And let's just call it, let's not, yeah, let's do sword block. Let's just call it sword parry. Is parry P-A-R-R-Y or P, is it P-E-R-R-Y? I think it's parry. Okay, it took me, yeah, it took you forever to get it working, but at the same time, now you know what it is. You've been adding the functionality, that's great. So I think, all right, part of this is also a thought process thing. You have to understand where you are in the phase of your game. It sounds like you're in the early stages, the prototype stuff. You're gonna be throwing systems in, you're gonna be adding stuff, it's gonna break stuff, you're gonna have to fix it and things like that until you get to a point where you kind of settle on what your game is. Like, it's not, even in professional game development, you don't just hop in and everything is not working all the time. There are specific development phases. You know, there's the planning phase, then there's the prototype phase, then you get in and almost every time you start the next phase, you know, once you get through prototype, then you get to, you know, pre-pro, then you get almost every single time between all of those phases, you're breaking everything. Everything breaks, it feels like you have to rebuild the whole thing again and stuff like that. So, I think maybe recognizing the phase you're in, getting, you know, identifying that. Are you in prototype where you want to get a working version that you can show people and get people excited to come work on your game with you? Or are you actually trying to go straight full into production? And if that's the case, then you know, hopefully you already have a working prototype, you know exactly what you're doing. You've proven out all of your theses about what it is that makes your game unique and special, or even just why you're gonna make it. Then you can go through and build out and set out the systems the right way. I promise you that if you were trying to do production level stuff right out of the gate, it is gonna feel very slow to get to release. I am personally not trying to do that. Not with my own stuff, not as a single dev. I am trying to get to a working prototype that shows what my game will be when it's time. And then at some point in the future, hopefully I can show other people that working prototype. And then I know, for example, everything I'm doing right now will probably get thrown away. And by thrown away, what I mean is not that I'm not going to use it, not that I'm not going to take the learnings or any of those kind of things, but specifically as I learn about what's important for this game, that will change how I build the systems to potentially support all of the things that need to be. For example, you could make all kinds of decisions about how your VFX and everything work, not realizing that your target platform is mobile, and then you're going to have to blow up everything you did and start over again because mobile can't handle the CPU throughput or whatever, bone counts, whatever it is, and you're gonna have to completely re-architect your character system. So yeah, so that would be a thing that I would throw in there to consider. Just recognize the phase you're in. A new Sappy Dev, I love that name, Sappy Dev. Welcome to the stream. Can I share my process of how you learn? I mean, me personally, I generally learn by doing and stumbling through it, which is why we're here, which is why I throw myself up here and I literally stumble through this stuff every week. So for me, yes, there's a little bit of learning examples. Yes, I like having tutorials, but for me, what really solidifies it is when I actually get in there and I break down a problem into usually bite-sized pieces that I can kind of stumble through. So for example, yeah, it's awesome to have you, Sappy Dev. Thanks for joining in. So for me, for example, I would say One of the things that I feel like I do fairly well is I do fairly well in accepting that I don't understand it all. What I mean by that is, for example, I don't understand everything there is to know about the ability system in Unreal. It's a crazy system. And especially when I first started, I felt like I was just stumbling around in the dark. But what I did was I set myself a small goal, kind of like what we're doing this morning. I said, I want to create the ability for the character to parry. But earlier it was, I want to build a sword combo. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Pick one task, hyper focus on that, and then I'm not going to worry about all this other stuff. I'm going to pick apart other examples. I'm going to figure out how the Lyra system works, and then I'm going to start to stumble through it. So what did I do? I took a combo, just like we had right here. I just duplicated it just now. We now have the sword parry, it's called. And I'm going to go in here, and if we look at, let's see here, am I still sharing my screen? Yes. Okay, so if we look in here, I'm just gonna kind of go through and I'm gonna recognize, okay, I have an ability, I activate ability, all of this stuff, cool, it does a bunch of things, I probably don't need this. Here's a play montage. So step one, actually, let's go way back. Can I even activate this ability? And I basically break down the problem. So you will see me come into a new ability. I'm gonna put in here print string. I'm gonna call this parry. Did we ever figure out how you spell parry? Is it P-A-R-R-Y or P-E-R-R-Y? Anyways, so I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna put in a print string parry. I'm gonna take the smallest baby step I can. Can I even get this ability to activate? By clicking a button. Well, darn. And so then I'm gonna have to back that up. And so for me, personally, as I stumble through trying to get a parry to work, what's gonna happen is I'm going to incidentally learn a whole bunch of other things along the way. And once I get one parry, then I'm like, okay, now I know how to do a parry. I'm gonna take that same stuff and I'm gonna apply it to a sword and all these kinds of things. I'm gonna build out my system. Here's the trick. I'm probably doing it wrong. And by wrong, what I mean is not whether or not there is more than one way to do things in Unreal Engine for sure. But I can't tell you how many times I'll give you a great example. I had built this entire system for how characters are able to find an attack position. It was really cool. It used vectors, it calculated all this stuff, and somebody hopped in the stream and goes, why don't you use the EQS system? I was like, what? I knew about the EQS system. I was using it for other stuff, but for some reason I hadn't thought to use it for finding attack locations. And it completely blew up everything I'd done, and in a good way. Like that was a huge win. I learned a ton about vectors and sorting those stuff and everything like that. But I went back and I redid it using the EQS system, and that's what's in the game now, and it's working and it's great. It's fine. But I also did an assessment at the time. Why don't you use the EQS system? Okay, do I need to? Well, there's a couple wins that I want to consider by using the EQS system. I'm trying to remember. I think it was Hot Sauce maybe that recommended the EQS. I can't remember who it was. I'd have to go back. But either way, specifically, there's a couple advantages as to why it's worth making the switch and redoing the work. In that case, there was a performance change. From what I understand, the EQS system calculates in another thread and a bunch of other things that helps you out with performance. And I was like, you know what? For those reasons, with the number of enemies that I have running around, I'm willing to give this a shot. So basically, I learned best by doing step-by-step real-world examples, and I set a small goal for myself within the larger goal. So right now, I have a larger goal of building a working prototype and playing my prototype with all of you. At 2 hours a week, that's going to take some time, but within that, I have all kinds of smaller goals. In order to be able to get through this, I've broken it down. So let's talk about some of the things that I've done. So let's talk about just a couple of the things I've done to break this down a little bit. So I want to make a working prototype that I can play with all of you. All right. Well, that means I need a game. Okay, that's fine. So I need a hero character. I need to make some basic decisions about what kind of gameplay stuff I want to feature. I know, for example, that I do want weapons, long range and short range. I don't want the primary focus to be, long range or short range weapons. I know that for my working prototype to be successful, I just need it to be fun. It just has to be good enough. Okay, cool. So I need a hero. Great. Start with a hero. I have a hero running around. I'm going to start. Originally, we didn't start with the Lyra system. We built from scratch. We were working in Unreal 4. Hold on one second. then we upgraded to 5. And in the process of upgrading, Anuj, here's a great example. I broke everything. I basically went back to starting again. I decided to make the decision to build on top of the Lyra system. Wrapping my head around the way the Lyra system worked is insane. But again, small goals. Get a hero running around. Cool. Now I want an enemy. Okay, spawn an enemy. Now I need 3 enemies. Just adding on top of that. All this getting to the point where it's just fun. It doesn't have to be production quality. It just needs to be fun. Once I get to that point, once my enemies can make decisions and run around in this little test speedball level, then we're going to start doing things like I want to build 1 level. Then once I have 1 level, then we start all the crazy stuff. Like how do you deploy a game? How are we going to set up the AWS servers to be able to deploy a game? I'm going to need to build a client, but I'm not going to build the best client in the world. I just want to build a big enough client or a solid enough client whereby you all would be able to hop in a game with me if we wanted to go in and test out something. So basically for me, it's just, yes, big vision goal, breaking that down into smaller level goals that I can go through now. Obviously, in a professional setting, is way more formal. You break that into sprints, you break that into tasks, you do all those kinds of things. I do that every day at work. If you go back and you look at the original thing for this stream, we're not really doing it that way here because I want to have fun doing it. If I was lost in scheduling and schedules and sprint planning and all those things while we were kind of doing this, I don't know. I think it would take some of the fun about the Wild Wild West version of this out of it. So for me, it's basically, yes, I have a big long-term vision, playable game. Even more than that, even beyond the prototype, my plan is to use the prototype to show people why I think we should make this game, and then we'll see where it goes from there. But then taking that big task and breaking it down into small tasks, all the way to the point where at the smallest level, can I print a string? And that's cool. That's cool. Then Anuj, specifics on how I debug and how I track stuff. It's little things like this. I'll print a string. Is the string actually printing? Do you understand how to put breakpoints in your visual code so that you can step through and see what's going on? Stuff like that. Hopefully that's helpful. If you all have more questions around that, don't hesitate to ask. So this is our event. We have our parry. We're printing parry. We're going to do all this stuff. We don't need to determine combo phase, I don't think. So actually, yeah, we don't need to determine the combo phase. We'll keep our montage to play. And I'm going to reconnect this. And what we need to do is we need to pick a new montage. Oh, okay. I use a lot of stuff. I mean, YouTube is amazing. There are so many super, like, for example, with things like YouTube and Twitch, there are so many people that are top tier in their class that will record a video on how to do something. And having access to that knowledge, it's phenomenal, right? We don't have to go to the library to find a book anymore. It's like having that stuff is available. So generally speaking, I will do it based on what it is I'm trying to do. So for example, And sometimes I'll take a course. Like, I'll give you a great example. I found a really cool course on Udemy. It was all about the ability system. It's 14 or 15 classes. And basically what happened was I realized that I didn't have, even though I sit down and I break this down to a small task or small goal, what often happens in there is, as I was trying to stumble through that first ability, I realized that I kind of needed a better basic understanding of how the ability system works, or a guided tour. And then I went out and I found a tutorial series on that. I basically took a class in Udemy. This particular class was both C++ and Blueprint, which helped me have a much better understanding of what was going on. And so I went through and I kind of just powered through that course, hyper focused on the bits of it that I thought I could use to apply. And I still go back and reference that. I'm like, no, wait, what did they do to do that? So stuff like that. Sometimes I read documentation. I have to admit, I'm not so much of a doc. There are people, it depends on your learning style, right? There's people out there who, when they sit down and they're like, I want to build an ability, they need to go understand the entire ability system. And these people are amazing. Okay. They can sit down and they can read it and they will become an expert in the ability system. And then they will tackle the problem. I'm not like that. My learning style is much more rapid prototyper. I'm like, I need to build an ability. What is step one? It's way more, if you were an animator, I'd say it's pose to pose. So Blueprint fundamental video, thanks for it. Yeah, of course, Happy Dev. There's more coming. We actually have a bunch. So just in case you missed the announcement, there is no live streams next week, the 9th and the 12th. The next live stream will be the 16th. Because I'm working on changing a bunch of stuff and things like that. But in its place, I have at least one pre-recorded standalone Blueprint widget tutorial that's coming. That's kind of just a fun standalone one. That's a little bit more intermediate. It assumes that you have some Unreal understanding. And then we have the next in the visual scripting series coming, as well as the next in the Python programming series coming. Okay, so the montage to play is variable type. We have to pick a montage. Now, I don't even know that we have a montage for block. So let's go to our montages. So we have an attack, but we don't have a block. So let's take our sword combo. Let's duplicate that and call this sword parry. Hold on, I gotta look up how to spell parry. This is killing me. How to spell parry. Okay, it's not P-E-R-R-Y, that's an alcoholic drink. So I think it's the P-A-R-R-Y. Ward off a weapon attack. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do P-A-R-R-Y. Okay. Great. So let's bring back our cats. Okay, so that one is named correctly. And our ability is not named correctly. Okay, another thing that I wanted to offer, Nuge, just in case you missed it, Sappy Dev, and Nuge was asking how do you handle like things when you break stuff so badly. If I compile this and save it, here's what I want to show you. I'm gonna browse to this asset. One of the things that helped me relax a little bit about breaking everything was adding source control. This is a huge headache to do, but for me, in my opinion, in my workflow, because I sometimes work fast and break things, I actually feel better having source control. Because what that means is, let's say I have my game working, like you did, you have site working, you basically get in there, you change a bunch of stuff, and you break something, and you're not sure what. First off, I can always go back to where I was, because it's all checked into source control, so I can just revert everything and get back to a working state. So I always feel good. I never hesitate to charge ahead and just delete stuff and move stuff and fix stuff. So that's one thing. The second thing is, by having source control, I can do cool stuff like I can diff thing. And I can show you how that works in a second. Glauber, welcome to the stream. Hope you're getting better day by day. I have some difficulties to write tools in Maya by using Python. Well, there's a specific course. So are you actually going through our Python scripting fundamentals for creatives in Maya? Because I think we're on class 3 now. Class 4 is coming. That would be 1. And that one is for free. It's just available on YouTube and you can find it in the thing. Also, just so you all are aware, we rate our videos based on beginner, intermediate, advanced. Right now, we just started doing that. So if you see a video with a green border, we're doing this like ski slopes. Like there's the beginner slope, the intermediate slope, and the expert slope. So the green ones are intros. So if you go and check out here, actually I can get you that link. Maybe I can get you that link. YouTube. Videos. I'll just grab a link for the first one for you. Let's see here. Python scripting class 2. Python scripting for creatives class 1. Here we go. Step by step from ground zero. This is the one we want. Get a shareable link. So here's the link for you for that first class for Maya. So that's one. As far as any specifics, you know, I have to admit, because it's been a while since I looked for like an intro scripting class, I haven't actually looked, but there's a lot of great resources out there. I'm not giving you mine just because I think it's the best. In fact, I think we all learn differently. My teaching style may work for you, it may not. So I think Rigging Dojo, like the crew over at Rigging Dojo may have a lot, some intro. I would take a check there. They may have some intro scripting or Python classes as well that you can check out. So Anuj, back to what I was saying, let's take an example of another reason why I took the time to add source control. Okay, first off, because you can check in everything and get it in a state where you know you can get back to it. It also tracks your changes along the way. And if I'm trying to figure out, for example, this sword combo ability, if I'm like, what did I change here? I don't remember. Because I have source control turned on, in the top left up here, let me make sure I'm sharing my whole screen and not just, yes, okay, cool. In the top left here, if I choose the diff tool, I can diff with the version in the depot. When I do that, it brings up this window. And this window tells me everything that changed between the last version I had checked in and the current version I'm using. So for example, in the blueprint, if I click on this, I added the variable for the controller. On the event graph, it tells me what changed. If I click on it, you can see I added the event on endability. So for example, if we zoom out, this is what was originally checked into the depot. And I can basically go through this and I can, as I zoom, you'll see both sides update. And I can see like, okay, it looks like I moved these 2 bits. I also added this new variable for setting the character controller. And then over here at the end, this all looks the same. It looks like I added in this character controller, setting move input, ignore. Same thing, I added a whole bunch of stuff here at the end. So I can go through and I can see exactly what changed, as well as this end ability. I am basically resetting the ignore back. So I'm using Perforce. So there's lots of different source controls available out there for you. So let's talk really quickly about all of them, and they all have different good things. But the 2 specifically that you'll hear a lot of people talk about are Get and Perforce. Personally, I like Perforce for game dev and also for binary files. Get has plugins and stuff that you can do, but there's a lot of reasons, especially if you're new to version control, why I think Perforce is probably better to start with. But especially with binary files, I use Perforce for my personal stuff, and we also use Perforce at work for like binary files and game dev stuff. It's faster, it does better with that stuff. Now, why Perforce? I didn't used to use Perforce. The reason that I switched to Perforce was they updated their licensing policy. So for small indie devs, less than 5 people, it's free. It's free. So once they made that change, I switched to Perforce for my own dev. And that gives me, that just gives me a feeling of ease with it all. Also, if something happens to my machine, I'm double backed up. I'm backed up with my Perforce server, and then I also store everything in Dropbox. And I have a Dropbox business account, and it also tracks history and version control, so I can always get back. So that's one of the reasons I think why I am just willing to break things. I think also part of it comes from being a character animator. I was a character animator in film for 15 years, and every single morning you go in and they tell you what's wrong with your stuff and you start over again. And so I'm not afraid to delete entire sections of code, redo blueprints, and start again. I've just learned over time that it's generally better the second time. All right, so back to our parry. That was a whole lot of really good questions this morning. That's cool. Going back to our parry, we don't actually have one, so we're going to have to make one. So here's our gameplay ability for the parry. We were looking at the montage though, and we didn't have one. So we have our sword power combo. We had just duplicated this. Okay, so we're gonna make this sword parry. Parry. Do I already have one? Oh, okay, I already have one. So I have a parry. Now we need to get the animations working. So we need to pick a different animation, and I don't know if we have one. So let's see if there's a block. These are katana blade jump block. Okay, that's not gonna work. Let's go see what we've got available in our library. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, also I discovered another problem that I have to share with you all. Okay, so right now we are using, let's do this. Let's search all of our content for katana and see what we have for blocks. Katana. Now, we basically got a whole pack of katana attacks. I forget where we got it from, but let's just browse to the assets. And what we were doing was we are retargeting these to the current champion using the IK retargeting in Unreal Engine 5 that's set up kind of as part of the Lyra project. Let's see here. Movements, attack, skills, damages, and revenge. Let's see if they have a block in here. Jump block. Or is there a parry? Doesn't look like we have one. Good morning, Aaron. This is not Fortnite Creative 2.0. This is just straight Unreal Engine. This is Unreal Engine 5.1. A tutorial for creating custom animations. So when we talk about custom animations, there's a couple different ways to make custom animations. So it sort of depends on what you mean by that. So for example, you can make custom animations in Blender or Maya and then export those, and those will come into Unreal Engine and then use those in the game. Or you can say, or you could be asking, will there be a tutorial on creating custom animations using Control Rig and Unreal Engine standalone all by itself? So it sort of depends on which one you're asking about. And we did a stream, I can't remember when it was. I can show you what the result of it was. Let me see if I can find it here. Let me do a quick save all real quick, just because we're in a decent state right now. We did, we'll check that out. What was it called? I think we called it Sword Sequence. That was a sequence. Sword Let me see if I can find it. We did an entire animation. It was rough, but we did it in a sequencer. Interesting, I don't see it in here. Sword. Maybe it's under melee. But we did an entire stream where we were using sequencer to do a custom animation within Unreal to build a sword swipe. And it was an animation that we built from scratch using control rig. I'm trying to find it. But I'm not seeing it. It was in our original thing. Yeah, we did it all using control rig. Oh, maybe we can search for it that way, control rig. Do I still have the control rig in here? Let's see here. We were using... I don't know if it was this one. We'll have to go back and find that video. But anyways, depending on what your question is, yes, I'm happy to do a tutorial on how to create custom animations. There's a couple different ways to do it. I would just wonder which way you want to do it so that, you know, I would be actually answering your question properly. Okay. So we were working on our parry. I don't see the control rig that I built right now for the animation, but if I stumble on it, I'll flag that for you all in the future. And what we were looking for was we were looking for a block we could use, and I don't think we had one. Nope. We may not have an animation. Sword parry. We have a sword to parry. Yeah. Well, we are actually at a point right now where we need a parry, and I would normally say we would just make one right now. But I think you kind of need to decide what's going to be easiest for you to build. For now, let's just fill in an animation that's different. So let's just try. Nope. What's available? A couple different sword attack combos. Oh, only our 3 combo stuff. Combo 4s, combo 7s. Great sword crap. And this is a weird thing that happens sometimes. If you update your animation, it doesn't actually update in the montage, so you have to reopen it. Doesn't look like that worked. Let's try that again. Wow. Okay, so for now, we're just going to use this as our parry, because I just need something visually different. This is a great example of me black boxing things. I believe it was either Anuj or Sappy Debbie was asking earlier. It's fine for this to just be a crouch. It's not really a block yet. It doesn't matter, because for what I need, I just need something that's visually different. So if we save that, then we go back to our parry ability. I can make sure that the montage we're playing now is the parry montage. Okay, and then it's going to set our character movement input to ignore. That's fine. And then this is the end. We're going to wait for the event. Okay, so this is going to change a little bit differently now. We're not going to be waiting for a melee event of melee hit. All of this is going to change a little bit. What we're going to be doing is putting in, basically, we'll probably be adding a gameplay effect that makes us invulnerable for some duration when you block. So we all of this is going to get cleared out, I think. So we don't apply gameplay effect to a target. That's interesting. This is our sword cues. So we're just going to clean all this stuff out. But unfortunately, we don't have time to do that today. So we're going to be leaving that for the next time. But let's do a couple little things to wrap up here for you all. So it sounds like there's at least one request to do an animation. I want to offer Sappy Dev. If you want to create, it's cool to understand how to create an animation using control rig. I think the workflow of if you're trying to produce multiple animation assets and edit them and track them all and get them, right now for me personally, it's a lot faster and just works better in my mind if I were to animate them in Maya or Blender, because I basically save my files, you know how to work in it, I can create an update, I import it, it's clean. There's a little bit of a how does the editing and all that stuff work in Unreal that we can go through. So you know what, I'll do a standalone tutorial. That's what we'll do. I'll do a standalone video on just me stumbling through creating my first animation using control rig. We did this already in a stream, but it might be cool to have it as a separate video that you can find in reference. So I'll do that. I want to double check to see if there's any other questions before we head out. Glower, I already told you to check out Rigging Dojo. Okay, I don't think I've left any outstanding questions. Just a quick reminder for everybody, there are no streams next week. We are taking a week break, so there's no stream on the 9th and the 12th, I believe it is. Yeah, there's no stream on the 9th and 12th. I am going to be releasing a standalone video either on the 9th or the 12th, maybe one for each, for just general Unreal stuff or as part of our crash courses for either visual scripting or Unreal development. So those should be there, and then we will be back again, starting the 16th. Everybody who hopped in this morning, everybody who hopped in this morning, thanks for hopping in. It was awesome seeing you all. Welcome to the community. If you have questions, that's why I'm here, right? If I'm doing something else, it doesn't matter. I'm happy to stop that. I'm building this game on the side just to fill in time between questions. So your questions, us learning together, that's the priority. Generally speaking, Sappy Dev, our live streams are Sunday nights at 10:15 Pacific Standard Time or Wednesday mornings at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So, but again, no streams next week. The next one should be Sunday the 16th, 10:15 Pacific Standard Time. So that wraps it up. I hope you all have an awesome rest of your week. Today's Wednesday, I think. Yes, it's a blitz of a week. I hope you have an awesome rest of your week. Have a great week next week. Keep an eye out for those videos coming up. Don't hesitate to throw questions in the comments below or hop in the next live stream. We will either cover them in the next live stream or we can cover them live in the next live stream if you have those. With that, take it easy, everybody. See you all soon.